I want to talk about how wonderful Arches National Park is in Moab, and it's unfortunately super popular, and all the places to visit there have really tiny parking lots, and the crowds are just crushing the place. So from April to October, Arches National Park does this like lottery system, and the first time I went to Moab was in April of 2022. And it was during Easter Jeep Safari Week, which is when like thousands of people show up and everything's packed everywhere. But what killed me was it took me 2 or 3 days. You could reserve a spot like 6 months in advance, but then they hold back like a quarter of the things for the day before. And I think at 2 times in the day, they release those like 50 spots or whatever for each hour. It took me 2.5 days to secure like a 1 hour window. And I have this, which is America the Beautiful pass. You can go into any REI and buy a 1 year or 2 year pass, good for all the national parks for about $100. And like one trip to Utah, if you hit Arches and Canyonlands and Capitol Reef and stuff, would blow that out if you just paid cash. So I have this like annual pass unlimited to every national park. I have my time slot. I made sure I didn't show up. Mine was like 2 to 3 in the afternoon. I pulled up into a line that was extremely long around 2 o'clock. And I think it took me about an hour to get to the front of the line. And when I waved this pass, they let me in. It took 30 seconds to get into the park. But it took me an hour to get up to the gate to get into the park. So I just went to Utah. I just went to Moab. And I wanted to check out, I'm doing 4x4 trails and stuff. And I'm also wanting to check out Arches National Park and all the beautiful things they have to offer there. And I came across like a set of trails I didn't know about off Willow Springs Road. And there's sort of like a back entrance to Moab. And so I want to describe that to you. If you have a real lifted, modified 4x4, I would not bring a Subaru down it. It's not too rough, but the trails I described eventually get kind of rough, and where my Jeep came in really handy. So you'll head out of town on the 191 towards Arches National Park, but you'll go past it like 8 or 9 miles until you see Willow Springs Road on the right. From there, you just turn in, and you're immediately going to be on dirt. And it's part of the Utah Raptor State Park. The first thing I did was air down my tires to about 15 pounds PSI, just for smoother, better traction and smoother comfort on the road. It was just like washboard roads for a few miles. And then you got a few climbs and dips and descents and a few washes you had to drive. My favorite first stop is the Dinosaur tracks. You just pull off and there's just sort of this area of all these petrified dinosaur tracks, 160 million years old. Something stepped in mud a long time ago and it turned to stone. And they're just sitting there to be enjoyed. And it's great. A couple miles after the dinosaur tracks, you'll come across the actual park boundary for Arches National Park, and there's a gate, and it's open during the day, and you can cruise right on in. And you can take this for several miles to the main road in Arches, and from there you can go see Balanced Rock and all the arches and stuff. But for me, I made a left right before I hit the main road to go up and see Eye of the Whale Arch. Since it was January, I had it completely all to myself, and it was wonderful. After doing the short hike to Eye of the Whale Arch and back, I turned north and went up to Tower Arch from there. And here the trail gets a little more chunkier, a little more lumpier, and this is where you really need a 4x4. But eventually, I got to enjoy Tower Arch, also completely by myself. And this one's a little bit longer of a hike, maybe a bit over a quarter mile. And then after that, it was just maybe another mile to the main road. And I was about 10 miles inside of Arches National Park, and I just sort of headed out and checked out all the other arches and Balanced Rock and stuff like that on the way out. The whole trip took about 2 hours total, and I plan to basically go this route anytime it's busy in the summer from now on.